Welcome to Aging Matters, a program featuring individuals who talk about aging-related issues of interest to older adults and their families. I'm Cheryl Beversdorf, your host. Pet therapy, also known as animal-assisted therapy, is a technique that uses animals to interact with older adults to help improve their quality of life. In fact, for this population, the documented benefits of contact with pets is significant, whether it be mental, emotional, or even physical. Today, my guests are Burton and Shellie Goldstein and their therapy dogs, Bear and Emma. All of them are volunteers with National Capital Therapy Dogs, also known as NCTD. And Burton is also the Director of Public Relations and Treasurer of NCTD, and Shellie is the Director of Communications. Today, Burton and Shellie will talk about pet therapy, how it works, and the benefits it offers older adults. They're also going to talk about the NCTD and the services the organization provides in the community. Later in the program, Burton, Bear, and Shellie will show us what a visit between a pet therapy team and a resident living in a long-term care facility looks like. So welcome, Burton and Shellie, and Bear and Emma, and thank you for being with me today.
Thank you for having us.
Burton, let's start with you. How do you define pet therapy? What is the purpose of this?
I always try to keep the word pet in there, that this is nothing more than someone taking their pet animal, and visiting with the community and provide some sort of comfort to the community, whether it is elderly, whether it is a person in stress, whether it's no matter what the setting. We never know exactly what the setting is going to be, but the dog is prepared to be as non-judgmental as they possibly can, and we just deal with whatever we encounter.
And are there different types of pet therapy, Shellie? And if so, what are they?
Well, there's animal activities, and that would be where we would go to a facility where there were goals that we had to meet with the clients. Then there's animal-assisted therapy, where it's more in a clinical setting, and you're going to somebody that's ill. We don't know what's wrong, but they want to visit with the dog. And the dog lays in bed with the patient, and the people just calm down, they smile, and they don't want us to leave the room. Or we can leave the room, leave the dog.
And for the goals, it's just something where you're told beforehand that
Yes.
you're supposed to work with the
Right.
person.
If it's somebody that's had a stroke, maybe
Okay.
they want them to brush the dog's hair, or put another leash on and walk, let that patient get up and walk, and we'll walk around with the patient. So just depends. We're at the whatever they want us to do at the facility is what we do with our dogs.
And in your visits, talk a little bit more about the emotional benefits of pet therapy and the physical benefits and mental benefits. What have you seen?
Well, the physical benefit is where the patient will take a brush or a comb and comb the dog, so they're using their arms and their hands. Maybe more physical will be get up and walk with the dog and just walk around. We would never let the patient just by themselves. We have two leashes, one that we control the dog and one that the patient holds. The other is mental. The patient's been in bed for a month and they're depressed and they're looking what's going on around them, and we put the dog in bed with them. And what a difference that makes. Again, the smile comes back. They ask questions, we talk, and it for that time that we're there, the patient is thinking something else beside what is the reason that they're in the hospital.
So the behavior has changed quite a bit.
Right. I mean, one thing is they've shown that a dog helps to lower blood pressure. They don't ask anything, they don't want anything. Just be kind to me and touch me.
So Burton, in what types of facilities is pet therapy offered?
There are many, and we seem to be asked to get into to go visit at anything and everything. It could be that we do a lot of critical care facilities. We work with a staff and try to do the animal-assisted therapy work. It could be special needs facilities where they have kids that require special interaction that the dogs can help with. It could be something, a school setting. We've been asked to go to a 4-H club and explain what we do. We've been asked to go to offices that have grief going on, and they would like for us to come in and help them. We could literally be going to a visit every single day, and we have far more requests for facilities than we have teams that could possibly fill them.
So Shellie, explain to us, what does a pet therapy team look like? And are all the teams volunteers? I mean, I mentioned that you two are volunteers. Is that usually the rule?
We are volunteers. Everybody there's all volunteers. What a team looks like would be a human handler and a dog, and you would go through training. We require that the first step is that you get a Canine Good Citizens degree, and that's where the dog has to sit, stay down, and be exposed to other dogs. Then we suggest that you take an obedience course that teaches the dogs how to stay. When you have to walk away from them, you don't want them to get upset or run away. And then we go through a handler's class. Then we go through another training for 6 weeks. The last class there is going to a mall where there's elevators, because in hospitals and other facilities there's elevators. The dogs have to be not afraid to get on the elevators. And after you've passed all that, we have a screening. Then once you pass that and you've passed everything, you're ready to go and volunteer.
And how long is that period? I mean, does it vary
Well,
with the team, or how does that work?
Dog has to be 1 year old before and have lived with you for about 6, 7, 8 months before you can even consider doing any of this kind of work.
Okay.
Because by the time the dog is a year, they've started to settle down and you can work with them, and you kind of get an idea of what their personalities are like. And from there, you take it as far as you want. The more obedience training you do with the dog, the better your dog is behaved.
And I just have to throw this out, are there also requirements for the human part of the team, or is it most of the focus is on the animal?
It depends on the facility. Yes, there are, we have to wear certain, like not a uniform, not a
Okay.
uniform, but,
Okay.
and we have to be able to control our dogs. And we are evaluated by the facility. There's a facility coordinator from in the hospital or the long-term care facility, and there's also someone from NCTD that takes care of these what we need to make sure the dog is doing properly, and that's done at least once a year. So the hospital reports to the person from inside, and the person at NCTD takes those reports, and then they evaluate, is a dog getting too old? Is it doing well? Is it responding to other dogs? Because we do have other dogs may be visiting at the same time from NCTD as we do. And we can't have any kind of interaction between the dogs. So once every year you go through that, you're good to go again for another year.
So the evaluation really comes after the training, and then it's repeated afterwards?
Yes.
Wanna
Well, the
clarify.
last step is you're evaluated. That would
Okay.
be the last step if you've gone through all the other training.
Okay.
And then you are followed. We don't just tell somebody to go there and forget that they even were part of NCTD. We track our volunteers to make sure everything is going well.
Just have to ask, are there a lot of volunteer teams that are part of NCTD?
Yes, there are. I don't know the exact number. I don't know. Burton does. Probably about 180 some volunteer teams, and a team is a dog and a human.
Okay, wow. So Burton, what happens during a pet therapy visit? We're going to have a demo about this, but kind of prepare us. What walk us through what happens when you and Bear or Shellie and Emma go on a visit. How does it go?
There is no, every visit is always different. It's interacting with different people with different needs. It's always a different setting, so you really have to play it by ear. You have to go and see how the person reacts towards your dog. You have to make sure that they're not allergic to dogs, that they're not afraid of dogs. And then you just start the conversation and you see where it goes. Depending on what the interaction is, I always say there are dog lovers, dog tolerators, and dog haters. We're not getting too far with the dog haters. The dog tolerators, that's fine. The dog lovers, we could walk away and leave the dog, and they're more interested in the dog than in us. But again, every setting is different, and you just follow the reaction of the person. Are we getting into something that might be reminding the person of stressful situations, and you're making the matters worse rather than better? So we want to bring that back to the dog. Is the person getting bored? Would the person rather concentrate on the dog than on me talking to them? A lot of times they just want to talk to me, and the dog's just there. So again, we have no idea of what it's going to be, and we just have to follow it step by step.
Sounds like, and sometimes they want to talk to the dog rather than you.
That happens a lot.
But it really sounds like what you're working on is making sure that the person is comfortable. And it sounds like both of you have to really read the personalities of the people that you're visiting so that you and your dog react accordingly. Am I right?
Correct.
You're correct.
It's
Yes,
all
you are.
about the person and the dog.
Right, right.
And we're just the handler.
And I'm just curious, do you get any preparation? You mentioned before about sometimes there is a therapist or present
Yes.
with the visit. Do they try to prepare you in advance of
Yes.
what you're going to encounter? Or?
Right. The recreational therapist will go around to their wards and they'll go into the room and ask the patient, do you want a visit from a dog? Are you afraid of dogs? And once they have all the information they need and we come to the facility, then they tell us. And very often we don't have a clue what's wrong with the patient, and we really don't need to know. We're just there to make the patient feel better. And sometimes, like in the elder care facilities, we have met with people that they look forward to these visits, and they'll say, are you coming back? We love your dog. Please come back and see us again.
That's the best
So
testimonial.
that's the best thing.
Well, at this point, we're going to observe a visit between Mrs. Cooper, a resident in a long-term care facility, and Burton and Bear, a volunteer pet therapy team from NCTD. So let's watch.
Hi, this is my dog Bear. Can we say hello?
Yes, you can.
Are you allergic to dogs?
No, I'm not.
Are you afraid of dogs?
No, I'm not.
Great. Come on, Bear. Let's go say hello. Bear. Good boy. Can I put him on your lap?
You sure can.
Okay, let's see if I'll go. Okay, how's that?
How's that, Bear? Good boy. What a
So,
good dog.
This is Bear. He's 8 years old.
Wow.
He is a Shih Tzu. These dogs were intended to be the Emperor's lapdog.
I can understand why.
So this is hair. You feel
Okay.
how soft it
I
is?
do. It's really soft.
So most dogs have fur, but Bear has hair.
Wow. So he doesn't shed, is that right?
No more than you and I.
Okay.
And he has never had a haircut.
Wow. So he's got a lot of hair.
So whether it breaks off, whether it stops growing, whatever, he's never had a haircut, and this is as long as it gets.
Wow. That's really neat.
So did you have a dog?
Yes, I did. I've had many dogs. My children grew up with dogs, little dogs as a matter of fact. And when they grew up and left home, I continued to have dogs. And up to a few years ago, I had a dog who Unfortunately, I lost her, but I have wonderful memories of the little dog. So it's nice to have your dog here.
I'm sorry to hear about that, but this is Bear. Bear is not only does pet therapy work, he also competes in dog performance sports.
Wow, he does a lot.
And like every good athlete, Bear has his own trading card, so I'll give you a copy of that.
Okay. Let me see that card. Oh, wow. That's all the activities? That's just some of the activities?
That's just some of them.
Wow. And what are some of these? Is that picture? What's he doing over here?
So here he's doing obedience. We compete at the highest levels in obedience. He was down in Orlando in the American Kennel Club Championship.
What an honor.
And there at the bottom, he's doing agility.
And what does he do in agility?
He competes in agility. Next weekend we'll be running in Baltimore at the Pet Therapy or Pet Expo doing agility. Up here he's visiting with someone in a hospital nearby. We also do animal-assisted crisis response work.
Right.
So if there's some sort of disaster, we'll go in and try to help the first responders. And there he is going through training. He's been in helicopters, fire trucks, boats, anything we can.
That is really great.
We wish that Bear could accumulate frequent flyer miles on other airplanes.
So he flies that many times.
All the time.
Good deal. Now, can you tell me what some of these pins are on his vest? They look really interesting.
Well, again, some of the places we've been to will give us a pin in recognition of the activities. A couple years ago at the Navy Yard shootings, the pin 197, that's the building where the shootings took place.
Wow.
We've been back and supported them many times. This one here,
This one is interesting. What is it?
the starfish is a symbol of volunteerism. And the story is that once upon a time, someone was walking along the beach and there were all these starfish.
Right.
And they were dying, they were on shore, and someone was picking them up and throwing them back in the water. And someone else saw this and asked what they were doing. And they said they were helping the starfish. When asked, well, there are millions of them, and the person said, he picked up another one, threw it back in the water and said, well, I helped that one. So we try to help people one at a time. Hopefully we're helping you.
Right. You certainly are. It brings back really good memories of my past with my dogs.
That's great.
And I appreciate that.
I tell you, Bear would really like it if you could help him out. Here's a brush. And we'd love to have you brush Bear now very gently and on his back, behind his vest, if you could. Very.
Sure. How's that?
It's great. It's one stroke I won't have to do tonight.
Oh, good. I'm glad I'm helping you, Bear. You're so beautiful.
Bear, how do you feel about that?
He seems to be okay.
Great.
He's not complaining.
All right. Now another thing, Bear would love to get some exercise. And if you will help us walk Bear, if you can do that,
Yes, I can.
then what I'll do is I'll put a second leash on Bear
Okay.
so that you can have one and I can have one,
Right.
and we'll take him for a walk.
Okay.
Come on,
I
Big
do
Bear.
miss walking my dog.
Well, good. You can walk my dog.
Okay.
Okay. So here's a leash for you.
Great.
And why don't we get up and go? Bear,
Okay.
you ready?
You ready, Bear?
Let's go.
Okay, let's go.
I hope the visit you just saw between Burton and Bear and Mrs. Cooper helps to understand the dynamics of a pet therapy visit and how it can benefit an older adult. So, Shellie, how often, in your experience, do pet therapy teams visit older adults?
Well, it depends on the volunteer, the human and the dog, the facility, what their requirements are. Most of our volunteers, or a good number, work full time. So if they can give one day a week, or they can go twice, like on the weekend, once a week, 3 times a month. It's certainly something that works with the facility and the volunteer. And we find now that in our long-term care facilities, we've got a lot of patients who just love the dogs and keep requesting that they come back. And we try to bring the teams back as often as we can. A lot of people, but a number of the people in the Alzheimer's section who visit with the dogs, and the dog comes back the following week, they actually remember the dog's name. Maybe not the handler, but they do remember the dog's name. So the dogs are making an impression on them.
So how can facilities sign up to have a therapy team visit?
Well, they can go to our website, which is nctdinc.org.
And do you visit more than one facility? I mean, we've got different, you were talking earlier, Burton, about sometimes it's long-term care, sometimes assisted, hospitals. Your same team can go to all of those different places.
Right.
It isn't like one of your team is just limited to a certain type of patient or person. Is that true?
No,
What would you
and
say, Shellie?
we have a program called READ, and this is where a dog and the handler, it's either done in a library or they can do it in a school. And the children are picked out because they have some kind of reading problem, whether they don't have confidence to get up in front of the class and read, or they don't feel that they read well enough and they don't pronounce the words. So they'll come to one of these sessions where the dogs come in and the children pick out a book, or sometimes the reading teacher will pick a book and the child and the dog will sit down. Usually we sit on the floor and the child reads to the dog. And we'll say, well, do you remember what was said? Because I don't think Emma remembers. And so to check their comprehension, they'll come back and say, oh, the dog helped the person, it barked, it did this or that. And this is what they're looking for in this program. And it's been very successful. And at the end of the school year, they will test these children, and their reading skills have definitely gone up from being
So
part of this program.
you two are very versatile in terms
Yes.
of the different kinds of
Right.
target audiences. So Burton, are there requirements for the facilities to be approved for these visits? Is there something that they have to do with NCTD in order for you and Bear to go to the facility, or you, Shellie, and Emma?
To become a part of our program, we have a facilities agreement that has to be explored. We also have directors of facilities for the various areas, and so it's a very formal process. If it's simply of going to visit, making a presentation to a 4-H club, or going to visit a school, and not become a formal continuing program, then we're more relaxed on that. But as far as a facility, we require a place for the dogs to go. They have to be able to relieve themselves before they go in. They have to have permission of the facility itself. So we have a very formal agreement. That's all covered on our website.
Okay. And I guess the other question then that I want to ask you is, as we look at this wonderful opportunity of interaction of the pet therapy with an older adult, what would you say, Burton? Do we need more facilities that use pet therapy teams, or do we need more pet therapy teams, or both? What would you tell us?
In my opinion, it's not necessarily one or the other. There are so many people that would benefit from having a visit from a dog, or actually any domesticated animal. There are so many people out there with pets that would love to have an opportunity to go out into the community and do good. It's really a matter of pairing the two together. So it's the organizations. Perhaps we need more organizations that are willing to make these programs happen. And again, for everybody that is thinking about, I've got my dog, I want to go out and do community service, how do I get started? Again, as we said earlier, we're in the business of training therapy animals. There are a lot of people that do obedience. So we don't want to be an obedience training school. Go out, take your dog, get obedience trained. You don't have to become a champion. You just have to have a nice dog, an obedient pet. And the proof of that is the American Kennel Club has set up something they call their CGC, or their Canine Good Citizenship. And it's a very simple screening just to make sure your dog can do the basic obedience commands: sit, down, come, behavior things. And so we look for the person that has gone through some sort of training, has taken this certificate, has passed, and then they come to us, and that's proven to us they are a good team. We're looking for the teamwork before we start doing our therapy dog training. Then we'll go into all of our training programs, and they can go down the path of becoming a therapy team. So go take your dog and do some obedience work, get your CGC, and then come see us. If it's not us, there are a lot of other programs, and perhaps there should be even more.
Okay, well, last question, Shellie. How can viewers learn more about NCTD and how to volunteer and how to invite pet therapy teams?
Well, I think, go to our website. It gives you all the information. Again, it's nctdinc.org.
Okay, and are all the people volunteers then there? And
Yes, everybody's a volunteer.
Okay.
We do this because we love what we do, and because we can make somebody feel good.
And it looks like both of your dogs are very happy as well.
Oh, they are. Yes, they are. Yeah.
Well, I want to thank Burton and Shellie Goldstein and their dogs, Bear and Emma, with National Capital Therapy Dogs for joining me today. This program is broadcast Sundays at 5:30 p.m. and Wednesdays at 6 p.m. on Comcast Channel 69 or Verizon Channel 38 in Arlington, Virginia, or streaming live at those times on arlingtonmedia.org. And by the way, Aging Matters is also on the radio. The program is broadcast every Tuesday at 2 p.m. on WERA-LP Arlington 96.7 FM. And you can listen to all Aging Matters radio programs by visiting www.mixcloud.com/Aging Matters, or because there are so many programs now, the other address is tiny.cc/Aging Matters Archive. And finally, both radio and television Aging Matters programs are posted on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Aging Matters WERA. Thank you so much for watching the program today. Please join me again for the next Aging Matters show. And until then, remember, age is just a number, not a label.